Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's webinar, especially for recent graduates of the University of Manchester. I was just wondering, before we start, would you mind just giving me sort of a hands up or a let me know in the chat that you can see the screen okay? You should be able to see a slide. If you could just let me know that you can see it okay, then we can go ahead and start. And you can use the chat function to do that. Okay, fab. Thank you. Great. Okay, so let's start. So yes, welcome so much to tonight's webinar. This evening we'll be covering all the ways in which the Career Service can support you, whether you need help with searching and applying for graduate jobs, whether you're thinking about graduate schemes because it is graduate scheme season at the moment, whether you want help changing sectors, or maybe you just aren't sure where to start. My name is Jenny Sloan and I'm the Careers Consultant for Graduate Transitions here at the University of Manchester. And I'm responsible specifically for supporting final year students and crucially recent graduates with their transition from university to the working world. So thanks so much for joining me this evening and I hope that you find this session useful. So what will we be covering over the next hour or so? Don't worry, I won't be talking for the whole hour, but there will be a chance for you to ask questions. Firstly, we'll look at the kinds of graduates that the Career Service can support, and then we'll move on to the Graduate Career Support Package, which will provide you with an overview of all the help, advice and guidance that's available to you to help you take the first or maybe even the next step in your career. Following this, we'll focus on some key graduate concerns at the moment, including job hunting tips in the time of COVID, because I know that's a very big thing that graduates come to me with at the moment. I'll also be sharing some insights and top tips from recent graduates about how and why they use the Career Service to support their career after they finish their degrees. Next, I'll offer some ways you can stay up to date with the latest careers news, events and resources available to you, as well as giving you a super quick introduction to the ways in which you can stay connected with the university as an alumni. And lastly, it's over to you. We'll have time for questions, so feel free to use the question answer box on the toolbar to the right hand side of your screen to ask any questions you have. You can ask these throughout the presentation and I'll make sure I get through as many as I can at the end. I think we'll probably have maybe about 20 to 25 minutes for questions, so hopefully plenty of time. Okay. So before we go any further, it's probably a good idea to start with outlining the eligibility for using the Career Service as a recent graduate. So you can continue to use the Career Service for up to 2 years after you finish your course at the University of Manchester. And this means that you can continue to access all of our online resources, our guidance, our application advice appointments, and our careers events. If you're an MBA graduate, I'm not sure if we have any of those on the call at the moment, you'll have your own specialised package of career support offered by the Postgraduate Career Service at Alliance Manchester Business School. And you can just see their email there and you can drop them an email to find out more. Perhaps you've left the university early and maybe halfway through your degree without finishing it. In that case, you can access the Career Service for 1 year from the date that you left your course. So for more information, have a look at the eligibility page on the Career Service website or drop us an email. However, I imagine for the vast majority of participants on this webinar, you'll be able to access all of our support services for a whole 2 years from when you finished your course. So when should you get in touch with the Career Service? So myself and the other careers consultants that I work closely with, we work with a range of recent graduates across all disciplines and faculties. And we have a whole team of us who see graduates in all kinds of situations, seeking careers advice and guidance about a whole range of scenarios. For example, we can help those of you who don't know what to do or where to start in terms of making careers decisions and plans, whether you've just graduated in the summer past or whether you graduated a year or more ago. You might have an idea of the sector or specific role that you want, or maybe an organisation that you want to work for, and we can help you to develop an action plan on how you can find out more about your desired industry and signpost you to ways in which you can build the skills and experience that you need. We also see a lot of graduates who are either unemployed or in a non-graduate level work at the moment, but want to secure graduate level employment or score a place on a graduate scheme. Similarly, we support recent graduates who are considering further study, or graduates who are currently in work but maybe want to change jobs or industries. Finally, most of the graduates that I'm seeing at the moment need help adapting their career plans and actions in the wake of current pandemic and the recession. So perhaps your post-degree plans have fallen through, maybe your travelling plans have been stunted, or maybe you had a place on a graduate scheme rescinded as employers try to adapt to the effects of a recession. Whatever it is that you need help with, whatever career concern you have, we'll do our very, very best to support you. And speaking of that, what support is available? There are 6 main facets to your graduate careers support package. The first is one-to-one careers guidance with a careers consultant. So these are usually 30 minutes and they take place over Zoom. But if you were registered with DAS as a student, you can get longer appointments of 60 minutes. And you can book these appointments yourself via Careers Link, and they can be booked for, I think it's up to 2 weeks in advance, and you can book one every 30 days. You can also access application advice. So maybe you've spotted a graduate job that you want to apply for, or a graduate scheme that you're interested in. You can put together your CV, your cover letter, your application form, and get a member of the careers team to look over it before you submit it to the employer. And if you send us the job description, we can actually cross-reference your application against the person's specification and job description and offer suggestions for improvement. So this acts as sort of a pre-screening service and can maximise your chances of making it through to the next stage. You can book these 20-minute application advice appointments on Careers Link, and a member of the careers team will be able to sort of upskill you on writing applications so you can take that knowledge to your next application. Thirdly, you'll be able to make the most of all of our online resources, and there are absolutely loads. So we'll go through a summary of where to find what you need on the Career Service website, but it really is massive and it's full of so much great information. So I really do encourage you to take some time to explore what's on it in your own time, have a look at the industry insights, tips on where to find graduate jobs by sector and location, and we have loads of CV templates, cover letter examples, and LinkedIn tips. If you have an upcoming interview, there are lots of ways you can prepare and practice. We offer 30-minute practice interview sessions in which the careers consultant reads over the job description and your application that you've uploaded onto Careers Link in advance of your appointment and asks you questions based on the role and your application. And we actually had an interview practice day today, which went really well. I'm not sure if anyone was at it, but it is a really good way of getting the help that you need to maybe feel a bit more confident and prepared ahead of the real thing. You can also have practice video interviews through Sunru, which is a video interview platform that many graduate recruiters use, and we've actually bought licenses for that. So we have a limited number of licenses, so you can only book practice Sunru video interview if you have a real interview coming up. But if you'd like to have a go at video interviews in general and don't have a real interview coming up, you can still do this, but it's through Graduates First, which we also have a license for, and there's more information about that on our website. Another key element of your graduate career support package is Careers Link, which is probably, I feel, one of our most underutilised resources among graduates, simply because some graduates don't know about it. So Careers Link is our online platform for vacancies and events, and you can search for graduate jobs, part-time work, volunteering opportunities across a whole range of industries, occupational areas and locations. And we also have quite a lot of remote opportunities on there at the moment. We don't advertise unpaid internships, so anything that you spot that is unpaid is a volunteering opportunity. And Careers Link is also where you can book careers guidance and application advice appointments and search for and register for employer events, career service workshops and careers fairs. And speaking of fairs and events, we have absolutely loads. So every week we have different employers hosting virtual events to connect with our students and graduates. And we run alumni panels called Meet the Professionals and lots of other online careers sessions and support events. And we'll cover more about those later. But your first point of call as a graduate as a recent graduate, when looking for career support and advice, should be the graduate support pages on our website, and you can find the link on the screen there. So here you'll find more information about everything that we've covered, including graduate job searches, booking appointments, and careers link. But you'll also find links to specific careers resources for international students, international graduates and postgraduates, and also tips on how to get workplace ready and more information about upskilling and continuing to boost your employability as a recent graduate. We have links to lots of blog articles that are particularly relevant to graduates, and we have an alumni career stories series where you can find out more about a selection of careers that recent graduates like yourselves have pursued. And there's also links to the Career Service YouTube channel, where coincidentally this webinar will be posted in the next few days if you want to access the recording or maybe share it with friends. So the main sort of place other than the graduate careers pages is the main homepage on the Career Service website. So I'd just like to share a brief overview of the Career Service homepage so you know where to get the information you need. However, as I said before, it's absolutely huge and contains lots of great up-to-date information. So I really do encourage you to take some time to explore it yourself whenever you get a chance. So as soon as you go onto the website, you'll find 7 main headers. So under the Which Career section, which is the first one, you'll find links to more information about 23 industries. And there's loads of great sector insights about crime and justice, textile and design, social and community work, engineering, education, finance, healthcare, government, small businesses, scientific work, engineering, marketing, absolutely loads. Anything you can think of, you'll find it there. And you'll find more about routes into these sectors, training and graduate job sites, as well as getting started with postgraduate study, or if you don't know what to do. So next up, we have jobs and experience. So here you'll find resources about virtual work experience, volunteering, work shadowing, transferable skills, and crucially over 200 graduate job search websites by sector, and links to free and low cost online training courses to boost your skills. Our applications and interviews section is much larger than the name would actually suggest. So not only can you find CV templates and advice, cover letter examples, application form tips, and loads of resources to help you research, prepare, and practice for interviews, you'll also find out more about how to use LinkedIn effectively to build your network. You'll find practice tests and e-guides to help you prepare for psychometric tests and assessment centres. And also there's actually quite a lot of personal statement advice for further study on there, including masters and PhDs, PGCEs, or medical degrees. Our international section provides specific resources, advice and events for international students and graduates to help with career planning. So you'll also find more information about opportunities to gain international experience and finding graduate jobs outside of the UK under this section. Here you can also register for your free Passport career account, which enables you to explore jobs, internships and graduate labour markets across the world. So it's a really, really good resource if you're thinking about working internationally. Under help and advice, you'll find more information about booking careers guidance appointments, application advice appointments and practice interviews, and you can also access our online chat service. Not many people know about the chat service actually. It's staffed from 10 AM to 4 PM UK time every weekday, and it's a really great way of just getting quick answers to any questions that you have. And you can also, for example, say you're struggling to book an appointment or something like that, you can use the chat service and we'll get you booked in. Under this section, you'll also find links to our social media, our blog, our YouTube channel, everything on this page. And these are great ways of gaining more sort of topical advice and accessing past workshop recordings and staying up to date with the latest careers, news and events. And speaking of events, our events section has actually grown considerably because we have a variety of sessions and events taking place online this semester. So you'll have opportunities to meet employers and alumni and hear from careers professionals on specific topics like using LinkedIn, adapting your plans, or looking for work as a postgraduate. We also host a number of fairs every year, such as the Finance, Business and Management Fair, the STEM Fair and the Law Fair, which we had 2 weeks ago, and these were all virtual. They've passed now, but you can still find the list of exhibitors, which is actually a really handy way of finding out who's hiring at the moment. So definitely have a look at the exhibitor list for these fairs. And we have the Postgraduate Fair coming up in a couple of weeks. I think it's on the 17th of November, but we'll mention that more in a little while. And last but not least, Careers Link, where you can book appointments and register for events. Just remember to log in as a graduate using your student ID number. If you forget your student ID number, don't worry. You should receive a monthly graduate newsletter from alumni, and that should have your student ID, your alumni ID at the top of it. If you need help activating your account, we've got step-by-step instructions to help, which I'll share soon. It's on our blog. But if you're really stuck, just email careerslink@manchester.ac.uk and we'll help you get started. So, something that I think lots of recent graduates should really make the most of is, as I said, our online workshops. And we've got absolutely loads this semester covering a whole range of employability topics. So as you can see on screen there, I've collated a list of our virtual sessions for November, but you'll find more details about these and other sessions, including how to register, by scanning the QR code on the screen there. It's actually really great for graduates that all of our workshops are online at the moment, because it means that you can access them wherever you are in the world. So all our workshops are recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel within, I'd say, about a week of running live, so you can watch them at a time that suits you. We're also really interested to hear from students and graduates about what help you need at this time. So if you have an idea for a workshop, just email graduatecareers@manchester.ac.uk with your request, and we'll do our best to accommodate you. We also showcase a massive range of graduate employer events every week. And on screen here, you'll see a few examples of the kinds of employers who run online sessions specifically for our students and graduates. So you know that they're looking to connect with you specifically and have live graduate vacancies that you might be interested in applying for. I would say, though, even if you look at the screen and you think, oh, well, I don't want to apply for any of these companies, it can be a good idea to come along to one of the sessions, even if the company sits within a sort of general industry that you're interested in, because you might gain some invaluable sector insights, and also it's just a great opportunity to network. It's also worth remembering, and I think it's quite easy to forget, but very important to remember at the moment, that every organisation needs finance, marketing, HR, management, IT and tech teams. So even if the company sits within an industry that you've not considered before, they might have specific roles that could be perfect for you based on the sort of occupational area that you're interested in. And I know I mentioned earlier that we run a number of careers fairs every year. You may recognise some of them from when you were a student, but don't worry if you didn't get a chance to attend while you were at uni, because as a recent graduate, you still have access to all of these fairs for 2 years, including our upcoming postgraduate study fair. I'm actually seeing a lot of graduates at the moment who are considering further study, whether that's a master's or a PhD. And further study can be a great way of expanding your skill set. It's good for gaining new experiences and, of course, enhancing your knowledge about a particular area. So if you're thinking about further study, definitely come along to our virtual postgraduate study fair from 11 AM to 3:30 PM on Tuesday the 17th of November. Here you'll be able to chat to lots of different universities and training providers about postgraduate courses and funding options. Don't worry, there's no need to register in advance, but you'll find more details about the exhibitors involved and how to chat to them on the day by visiting the website that you can see there. Another source of support available to graduates that a lot of graduates don't know about, and in fact a lot of students don't know about, is our career service blog. And this is where you can find more advice and information about more topical things. So we've got lots of articles on particular sectors like scientific work, sustainability and law. We've got specific articles on current graduate recruitment practices like job applications for EU and international students and graduates, and gamification, as well as more sort of lifestyle pieces like managing your finances as a recent graduate, and our Manchester Life series, which is a 3-part series about what it's like to work in Manchester as a young professional, written by some of our fabulous graduates. So if you follow us on social media, you can hear first about new additions to the blog. And actually, if you'd like to contribute to the blog as a recent graduate, please do get in touch with me. Another really great element of your graduate career support package is Manchester Graduate Talent. So some of you will be eligible for Manchester Graduate Talent and some of you may not, depending on the specific role that is advertised through it. So Manchester Graduate Talent, or MGT, is run by the Careers Service and it offers paid graduate level work to graduates from the University of Manchester. Positions are usually full-time, some are 12-month roles, others are permanent, but what they've got in common is they're all in Greater Manchester, either with startups, small to medium-sized businesses, charities, or with the university itself. MGT roles can be across lots of different occupational areas like HR, finance, IT, data and operations, to student support, social media, marketing, admin, and external relations. It's always check on the particular role if you're eligible to apply, and if you're not sure, just let us know, but it is always worth double checking. So MGT has run every year for about, I think it's about 12 years, and it's usually for graduates of that year. However, especially for our recent graduates, we've ensured that MGT vacancies are open to all eligible graduates of both the current and the previous year. So this means that this year, both 2019 and 2020 graduates can apply for MGT 2020 vacancies, and MGT 2021 will be open for both 2020 and 2021 graduates. I hope that makes sense. If not, feel free to write in the question box and I'll come back to that. So all of our MGT vacancies are on Careers Link and more are added every week as MGT has rolling recruitment. It's usually from April, May time to December, January. So you can sign up for the weekly vacancy bulletin to have a list of current vacancies delivered straight to your inbox every week, or you can sign up for the Facebook group, and you can see the QR codes there for both Facebook groups, so feel free to join them. Okay, so there's also lots of external sources of career support available to you that don't have anything to do with the University of Manchester, but they still offer excellent pieces of advice and insight. So Next Step Support was set up in response to the coronavirus pandemic and offers lots of advice on how to search for graduate jobs during a recession, as well as more general wellbeing advice such as career-friendly hobbies you can do while social distancing and how to maintain resilience in a tough graduate labour market. Through the National Career Service, you can look for jobs and further study courses, explore different career paths, and get one-to-one careers advice. Prospects is an absolute treasure trove of career support, and I know that in lots of my career guidance appointments I encourage graduates to have a look at it. So on Prospects you can take the career planner questionnaires which match your skills, ambitions and motivations to potential sectors that you might be interested in. You can also explore career options with your degree, find out more about specific roles and sectors, get advice on working abroad, along with lots of application and interview tips. Target Jobs lets you search for graduate jobs, graduate schemes and internships across different sectors and locations. And they also run lots of virtual careers fairs and have a really great A to Z of top graduate employers, which draws together advice and information about career opportunities to help you research who you want to work for and apply successfully. And last but not least, you also have Grad Touch, which allows you to explore jobs and companies with graduate vacancies hiring right now. So I've given you sort of a whistle-stop tour of the support that's available, but how do you know what support to access when? Because there is a lot of it, which is a good thing, but sometimes it can feel a little bit overwhelming if you're not sure where to start. So booking a careers guidance appointment with myself or another careers consultant can sometimes help you to take stock of where you are now and then formulate a plan of action to get to where you want to be, even if you're not sure what that is yet. So with this in mind, let's look now at a couple of specific scenarios and let's discuss where to begin if you recognise yourself in any of these situations. First up is, I don't know what to do. The first thing I would say here is please do not panic. This is probably one of the most common things we hear at the Careers Service, both with students and graduates. The good news is you don't actually have to decide right now. Actually, what you want now and what you end up doing will look totally different in the next 5, 10, 15 years. The key is to practice self-awareness and make an educated decision based on what you enjoy, what your skills are, and what options are available to you right now. The important thing is to take action, because a step forward in any direction is still a step in the right direction as long as it's a forward step. And you can gain so many transferable skills and experiences that can be applied to whatever you do next, whether it's a different job or a different sector entirely. The thing to concentrate on is how you can continue to develop your skill set and boost your employability with your first graduate job. And remember to be flexible and open-minded when researching the types of job opportunities available. We'll actually discuss more about that in a moment when we cover job hunting tips for recent graduates in the time of COVID. Okay, so what about if you're already in graduate level jobs, and you want to change roles or even industries? I do actually see a couple of graduates who are in this situation. The first thing I would suggest at the moment, given the recession, is to think about your timing and do your research. Is the sector or the organisation you want to work for hiring at the moment? And if it is, what does business and custom look for them right now? It's really important to research the marketplace they operate within and find out how current developments like the pandemic, the recession, even Brexit have affected their recruitment drives. Then, if they are hiring, start building contacts within the area that you're interested in. Find out more about the roles that are going with any organisation that you're interested in, and connect with maybe alumni or friends or peers that are working in those organisations and find out how they got to where they are. By expanding your networks using LinkedIn and attending employer and alumni panels and networking events like the ones that we discussed earlier on Careers Link, you'll gain access to insider tips and knowledge that will help you break into your chosen industry. Actually, we have next week, we have a session, I think on Wednesday the 11th, we have a session on how to build a professional network when you have limited connections. I think it's a lunchtime session on Wednesday the 11th, and the day after, on Thursday the 12th, we have another session, again a lunchtime session, 12 to 1, and it's all about how to find graduate jobs through LinkedIn. So anyone that's interested in this or is maybe finding themselves in this situation, maybe have a look out for those and register on Careers Link. If you are wanting to change jobs and sectors, it's a good idea to do an audit of the skills that you have and think about what skills you need to gain to break into your desired industry. And you can do this by, again, doing your research of particular roles. You can use prospects' job profiles, for example, and by reaching out to relevant contacts within your network. Lastly, you'll want to tailor your CV to match the role that you want. It's really important that you do that, and we have a whole e-learning module on our website about tailoring your CV effectively, and you can also book a 20-minute application advice appointment on Zoom. Then, what happens or what to do if you're considering further study at the moment? So we've already talked about how postgraduate study can be a great way of upskilling and expanding your knowledge. But it's both a financial and time commitment. So it's important to do your research, both about the courses available to you and what you're interested in, and funding options. Luckily, it's actually a great time for recent graduates who are considering postgraduate study, because we've got lots of support and events available at the moment. So, as I mentioned earlier, we've got the virtual postgraduate study fair on the 17th of November, where you can talk to over 40 course providers. But this week, actually, the university is also holding Postgraduate Virtual Open Week. So we have a range of Masters and PhD courses and alumni discounts on offer for some subjects here at the University of Manchester. The Open Week is running until Friday, the 6th of November, and showcases the programmes available at the University of Manchester in 2021. And there'll be lots of live subject talks, opportunities to chat with current postgraduate students, and the chance to connect with our teaching staff. I think you do need to register for sessions to take part. So maybe just Google University of Manchester Postgraduate Virtual Open Week 2020 to find out more. Anything will be on our main website. Okay, so definitely the most common situation that the recent graduates that I speak to find themselves in at the moment is job hunting during the time of coronavirus, which no doubt about it can be really difficult. Of course, we've seen organisations reduce their graduate and their student vacancies, and redundancies have been far from uncommon as companies try to almost mitigate the effects of the recession. And some industries have been hit so badly that many organisations within them are not hiring at all. However, before you switch off, it's not all doom and gloom. Even though it is difficult, we are seeing gradual improvements to the economy, albeit slow moving. So the Office for National Statistics have noted a rise in the number of vacancies advertised online, and some sectors haven't been as badly hit and therefore are regenerating at a faster pace than others, like IT, social care, transport and logistics, digital communications and banking. In fact, the Office for National Statistics have reported that healthcare vacancies now stand at 96% of the 2019 average, with education at 70%. So that's some positive news. I'm not denying that it's not difficult, but there is some gradual improvements. Nevertheless, when you're applying for vacancies and you don't hear back from recruiters, it can be disheartening and disappointing to say the least. And you might feel a little bit defeated or deflated or just even a bit fed up, and that's totally natural. So here are 5 things to remember that I hope might help. So firstly, please think about the next 12 months, not the rest of your life. While it is important that you don't lose sight of your longer term goals and ambitions, it's totally okay to focus on the short term for now. Your first job will probably not, definitely not be your job for life, not at the moment anyway, because chances are you'll change professions and even industries many times over the course of your working life, as your skills, your interests, your motivations will all change over time. This means that concentrating on what you want to do forever is not only overwhelming, it's also actually entirely unnecessary. Instead, concentrate on what you can do over the next year to boost your CV, your skills, and your network. Every graduate job, every experience will enable you to acquire new skills and elements of knowledge, and many can be transferred to different roles and sectors. 2, it's never been more important to be flexible and open-minded, and those are sort of buzzwords at the moment. The current state of the labour market might mean that you have to expand your graduate job search to include sectors that you may not have previously considered. But as I mentioned before, every experience can be valuable. So if you can't get a job in your desired sector, say media or journalism, why not focus on other sectors that are similar, like marketing or social media, or other occupational areas that can help you acquire the skills you need to break into the media sector, like copywriting, public relations, digital communications, for example. And remember, don't rule out working for an organisation that sits within a particular marketplace just because you're not interested in that particular vacancy. Remember that, that particular industry. Remember that all companies, from large financial and business services organisations to small charities, they all need marketers, HR and finance staff, IT and tech staff, and management and admin staff. I actually read a quote, I think it was, it doesn't matter, it matters what you do, not who you do it for. And I think that is quite empowering in a way, because it gives you back an element of control. What can you gain from this graduate job experience? What skills and network and experiences can you gain that will boost your employability for when you take your next step as a graduate? 3, so by all means, adopt an open-minded and flexible approach, and definitely be willing to adapt in response to the opportunities available to you. But this doesn't mean applying for every job that you see. So not only will you soon start to run out of energy if you do this, anyone would, but the quality of your applications could be compromised, and quality will always be more important than quantity. So remember to research the organisation you're applying to, including their mission, their strategy, their values. All of this will be on their website, and think about how they match with your own ambitions and values. Read up on them. Who are their competitors? What are their current risks? Have they developed any new products or services recently? Or have they maybe received any funding or awards? Everyone knows that you should tailor your cover letter to match the role you're applying for, but you'd be surprised how many people submit the same CV for several jobs. It's paramount that you tailor your application to the essential skills listed on the job description for every role that you apply for, and actually also the desirable skills too if you have them. So 4, remote work experience. So the rise in remote working has meant that recent graduates now have access to a range of opportunities outside of their current geographical remit. And actually, a recent report found that 3/4 of businesses surveyed have moved to partial or full-time remote working for their staff. So this is actually quite positive in a way. So look out for remote working opportunities as well as virtual work experience programs through websites like The Forage. We have more information about that on our website, and also remote volunteering opportunities as well. There's so many organisations you can volunteer online with. I've seen vacancies, volunteering vacancies with the Samaritans, with Citizen Science, Age UK, the NHS Volunteer Responder Scheme, United Nations, Translators Without Borders, and that's only mentioning a few. And lastly, I hope that this session has reminded you that we're still here for you now and for 2 years after you finish your course. So if you feel stuck in a rut or you need some help with anything careers related in particular, please don't hesitate to get in touch and we'd be delighted to try and help. So we also have lots of online resources to help you continue to upskill, because learning shouldn't finish once you've completed your time at university. So upskilling is an excellent way of ensuring your skill set is relevant and up to date in relation to in-demand skills, and therefore you're almost future-proofing your employability. This is also helpful if you find a job that you really want to apply for, but perhaps there's a few skills that you don't have. So instead of immediately writing it off, why not think about ways in which you can develop or enhance these skills, so you can give demonstrable evidence as to when you've developed or utilised the skills the employer is looking for. And there's loads of ways you can do this. We have an extensive list of free and low-cost online training courses on our website, and you can build new skills and expand your network by undertaking virtual volunteering, which will look great on your CV. It's also important not to underestimate the value that networking can have on your ability to upskill. So by connecting with alumni, for example, in your dream job, you could find out more about the skills that they had to cultivate to get to where they are now. So you can gain more clarity and direction about where to focus your upskilling efforts to maximise your chances of getting your dream job in your dream sector or organisation. So I thought I'd end the session before we move on to questions from yourselves with a few tips from some of our recent graduates. So the pieces of advice that you can see here are taken from our Graduate Careers Stories series, which you can find on the graduate pages of our website. And each of the stories are unique. Some of them are written testimonials, the majority are videos. They're all unique, and in the same way, their insights and tips are, because all of their experiences are unique. So Leanna reminds us that it's okay if you don't know what you want to do as soon as you finish university, and it's okay to take some time out and try a few different graduate roles before settling on a career path. Mihaela urges us to consider the quality of our applications over the quantity, and reminds us of the importance of perseverance and resilience, and she actually shares some really helpful tips on resilience, because I know that can be quite difficult to practice. Ilhan recommends the use of Careers Link to look for vacancies and relevant events as a recent graduate. And Koisha talks about the importance of keeping our eyes open for opportunities, because you never know when they're going to pop up. And one of my favourite pieces of advice that I think is so important to remember, especially at the moment, is that from Liam, who encourages us to keep moving forward. As I said earlier, any step forward into any graduate role is a step in the right direction. Linny recommends asking for feedback to help us overcome and learn from rejection. And Louisa encourages us to talk to a careers consultant if in need of some clarification, guidance or direction. And we didn't ask her to say that, that was genuine advice. And finally, Michael talks about his experience of taking a graduate role in a sector that he actually wasn't sure about at the start, but only when he was in the role, actually working in it, that he found out more about what he enjoyed and what he was good at. It's a good idea to stay connected to not only the Career Service, but also the University of Manchester as a whole. And as a graduate, you're now part of a 500,000 strong community of alumni. So keep an eye out for our monthly graduate newsletters. I think actually you should be receiving one this evening. And we use these newsletters to promote lots of different careers, programs, resources and events that we think recent graduates will be particularly interested in. You can also follow alumni on LinkedIn and social media and keep up to date with university news and exclusive alumni opportunities, events and benefits. And on that note, on the point of connection, it's a good idea to connect with the Career Service on social media as well if you haven't already. And this is just a good way of being reminded of upcoming sessions, workshops and careers activities. So there are the QR codes. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube as well. And I've also included the QR code for the article that shows you how to access Careers Link as a recent graduate, which is really handy. I should actually say you can download these slides in the handout section of the website, or if you want a copy, you can also email graduatecareers@manchester.ac.uk. Finally, before we move on to questions, I'd just like to point out that 15 months after your course is finished, you'll be contacted by email and maybe actually via phone by a company called HESA. This is the Higher Education Statistics Association, and they're going to ask you to complete the Graduate Outcomes Survey. So this survey asks you what you're up to 15 months after graduating, whether it's full-time work, travelling, further study or running your own business. And Graduate Outcomes is the biggest annual social survey in the UK, and it's really important because it helps inform higher education policy and lets current students make decisions about their future based on yours. We've got more information about that on the website. So thank you so much for listening. That's my part over. So now it's over to you. So if you have any questions, please use the Q&A function on GoToWebinar. You find it on the right-hand side of your screen, and I'll do my best to get through as many as I can. We've got 15 minutes, so I think I should be able to get through a few. Okay, let's have a look. Okay. So we've got a question. Oh, this is quite a good question. We've got a question on getting virtual work experience. Okay, so virtual work experience, it's also called online or remote work experience, is a great way of developing your skills and gaining experience. And also it gives you the opportunity to explore new industries at home. So some virtual work experiences can be a few hours. Some of them can be a few days, but others might be longer depending on the nature of the programme. So we've actually worked with the University of Manchester, have worked with a company called The Forage, which is an online resource offering virtual work experience programmes designed by leading companies. So it Forage offers you the chance to work through a number of self-paced modules with tasks similar to those you would experience in a real internship. And all these experiences are free of charge to University of Manchester students and graduates. I had a look actually on the website, and there's different sort of work experiences like climate change at Clifford Chance, there's digital transformation at BCG, and I think there's also things on law, HR, design and branding. So the particular, you can find out more about the Forage by going on our website and going under jobs and experiences. Jobs and experience, which is the second tab. And I think if you go under virtual work experience, you'll be able to find out more about that. Some companies, I think like the Intern Group or virtual internships, they also offer remote volunteering, but they can ask for quite a substantial fee sometimes. So we definitely suggest, or we actually strongly advise, that you carry out your own research and make an informed decision about before taking any opportunities. So yes, it's called The Forage. There's quite a lot of questions coming in. Is virtual work experience paid? That's a good question. So usually work experience in itself isn't paid, but we don't advertise unpaid internships. So you'll find lots of, actually, this is a good point, on Careers Link, you'll find lots of graduate jobs that are remote at the moment. and they will be paid. So a lot of companies that are hiring at the moment are starting their new graduate hires remotely, working from home. So definitely have a look on careers link for that. There's also actually a guide to virtual internships. I think it's by Rate My Placement. That's really useful as well. You can find out more about that on our virtual work experience page. Okay, the next question, okay, so that's called the Forage, Forage. Okay, so we've got another question here. Do you have any tips for networking with the purpose of finding a job? That's a good question. So I would say, in terms of tips, when you connect on LinkedIn, always include a personalized note and say how you found out about them. So maybe you met them at an online employer networking session or a careers fair, or maybe an alumni panel like Meet the Professionals. Always just include that, and it's just polite and it gives a really good first impression. And make sure you have a polished LinkedIn profile before sending connection requests, because I know if somebody connects with me, I always usually just have a look at their LinkedIn profile. When asking for a meeting, so if you've connected with someone and you want to have a chat with them, make it as easy as possible for them to say yes. So it's easier to say yes to maybe a 10-15 minute Zoom call about chatting about their company or their sector, rather than sort of like a 30-minute 45-minute phone call about their career. So just be curious, ask about their careers, their career trajectories. People love talking about themselves, so always ask what their thoughts on things are, and how their careers developed, and if they have any tips. But always ask for information, never ask outright for a job. Instead, focus on industry insights and collating information that will help you break into a sector or a company. And maybe when you've had a chat with them, you'll be on their radar, and if they see a job, maybe if their company starts hiring, they might think of you and send it your way, and they could even put in a good word for you. You never know. And actually, that's a good point to reiterate that on the 11th of November, we have our online workshop on how to build a professional network when you have limited connections. And on the 12th of November, we have Get LinkedIn, Find a Job, and they're both lunchtime sessions. Okay, let's have another look about what else we have here. Okay. Oh, this is an interesting question. Is there a danger in losing love for or getting burnt out from a hobby if you choose a career based on that hobby? E.g., this person in particular enjoys writing fiction in my free time. Would I enjoy journalism? That's a really, really good question. And like all sort of good questions, it's hard to answer. So I would say, think about you never know these things until you try. So if you perhaps started your graduate career in journalism and you thought about all the skill, it's a hard sector to break into, but you thought about all the skills that you use when you're writing, your creativity, your communication skills, your organization time management skills, because it's quite independent. Think about, would you enjoy those skills using them in a professional capacity? And talk to people in the journalism sector, find out about their hobbies. That's a really good question actually to ask someone for a chat on LinkedIn about. And every experience will be different. But what I would say is, if you do start a career in something and you think, oh, you know what, this actually isn't for me, that's okay. Nothing is sort of tying you to that for the rest of your life. And you will gain so many transferable skills that you can bring to other jobs in other sectors. So don't worry, it's not sort of a life sentence when you enter a particular sector as a graduate. There are ways of moving in and out of different sectors. Someone has asked a more practical question, but still a very good question, that if you can book a 30-minute session for careers guidance, Can you also look at CVs in this appointment? So careers guidance is more if you want to have a chat about something, if you're not sure where you're going, or you're interested in a particular industry, but you don't know how to get there, or you need help formulating a career sort of plan, or you're feeling a bit directionless, or you just want to talk to someone. But application advice is much more specific, as the name suggests. It's, here's my CV, can I have some tips? Or here's my cover letter or application form for a job, or personal statement for a further study course. Can you give some suggestions for improvement before I submit it to the employer, or before I submit it to the university? So you can book one 30-minute careers guidance session per 30 days, and you can also book an application advice appointment as well within those 30 days. Let's have a look. So someone's asked a question about, am I significantly disadvantaged if I'm looking for a job in the UK while living temporarily at home, mainland Europe? I think, so you have mentioned that you can relocate if required, which is fab. And companies will not, well, you're not able to discriminate on someone based on where they live. I would think more about, I would do your research and think more about, like any visa implications and things like that. And actually, we have a careers consultant specifically for international students international students and graduates, so you can have a chat with Nolene. But also international graduates can access all of our support services, including events and guidance appointments and application advice. And we run a lot of alumni panels with EU and international graduates. Actually, we had one today, so it might be quite useful for you to come along to one of those. Yeah, maybe have a look on Careers Link for them. You can book an appointment with Nolene, our careers consultant specifically for international graduates and students. But we also actually have a whole section on our website about working internationally and working abroad and finding work in the UK as an international graduate, which could be quite handy. And also bear in mind that a lot of opportunities are offering new starters to work from home, and remote work is very, very common at the moment. But yes, always, I think it very much depends on the opportunity that you're applying for in the company. So it's really important to do your research and to also think about those visa implications, and you can find more information about that on our website. So the next question, I have an interview coming up on Friday and I want to give the best impression. Do you have any tips? Firstly, congratulations. It's fantastic that you've got an interview. In terms of tips, I have loads of tips. Research, practice and prepare. That's the three things that I would recommend. So do your research. Why do you want to work for the company? How are the company operating at the moment? In terms of the client, what challenges do they face? Do more research into the sector and the industry. Think about, as I say, why you want to work for them. Think about the job, look at the job description specifically, and think, okay, what would I really enjoy here? What could I bring to this job in particular? Think of use the STAR technique: situation, task, action, and result when answering competency-based interview questions. Look at the essential skills that they have asked for in the person specification, and make sure that you've got some really strong examples of when you've not only utilised those skills, but when you've developed and enhanced those skills. Have some really good questions to prepare, to ask them at the end of the interview. And smile. Everyone forgets to smile, me myself included. Interviews can be very nerve-wracking, but just remember to smile and do your practice. So book an interview simulation that you can do that on Careers Link. If you want a practice video interview, get in touch and use Sunru, or get some general automated feedback on graduates first. All of that is under our interview section on our website, but good luck. So I've got another question here. This person has set up a LinkedIn profile. because it was recommended at a careers fair that they went to last week, which is great. Do you have any tips on what to include in your profile and what you should or shouldn't include? This is a really good question. LinkedIn can be a bit of a minefield, but basically it's like an online CV. But sometimes people can leave their CVs and they get really dusty and old and out of date. Whereas LinkedIn, it needs to be constantly updated because you never know who's going to look at your LinkedIn profile. Whereas with your CV, you give it out and you know who you give it out to. Whereas your LinkedIn profile, it's out there for graduate recruiters to see. So tips on what to include. Definitely include, have a profile picture, because I think I read somewhere, I can't remember the exact statistic, but the LinkedIn profiles with actual professional profile pictures, it doesn't have to be professional like a professional photographer, but have just a professional looking photo. Even just take it, good lighting on your phone, take a selfie with sort of plain white background in the back. Have a good sort of personal profile at the start, make it concise, clear. Who are you? What are you looking for? What sectors are you interested in? Make sure you've got your work experience on there, your degree, your part-time work, any volunteering that you have. Follow companies or organizations or sectors or professional bodies that you're interested in. And for more information on LinkedIn, actually, we have a really good page on how to develop an effective LinkedIn profile. So definitely have a look at that on our website, and come along to the sessions next week, actually, on building professional networks on the 11th and how to use LinkedIn to get a job on the 12th. But well done for creating a profile. That's a great first step. This person has asked about tutus. Do lots of graduate jobs require a 2-1 or above? Again, great question, and we do get this question a lot. So a lot of graduate schemes, a lot of larger graduate schemes ask for 2-1s, but not all of them. So it's really, really worth double checking before you write off a graduate scheme what the entry requirements are. So for example, I was talking to an alumni who works at the civil service last week, and she pointed out that there's so many different strands of within the civil service fast stream, and they all have different entry requirements. So some of them ask for 2-1 or above, some of them ask for 2-2 or above. So just do your research and always have a look. Also on Careers Link, if you look on Careers Link, companies, smaller companies that you can that offer graduate entry level roles may ask for a 2-2 or above instead of a 2-1. So have a look there, but it's very hard to say. It depends on the company, it depends on the organization, but there's lots of fantastic graduate schemes and jobs that you can apply for with a 2-2. So don't let that put you off kickstarting your graduate job search. So I'm just conscious of time. We've got 60 seconds left, and I don't want to run over, because I know it's an evening and everyone just wants to relax, and hopefully you find this helpful. Thank you so much for taking part. Please do feel free to book a careers guidance appointment with myself or another careers consultant, and we'll be more than happy to try and help. But definitely have a look at all the resources that are available to you, and remember, we're here to support you now and for 2 years after you finish your course. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for all the lovely comments that are coming in, that this was helpful. I'm really glad that it was, and please don't hesitate to get in touch. The email address, graduatecareers@manchester.ac.uk, is on there. So yeah, feel free to get in touch, and I'll do my best to respond to you as soon as I can. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a lovely evening and look after yourselves. Take care. Bye.